This is
go.
how we're starting it.
Yes, there we go.
Apparently, this is how we're starting it. Good morning, day, or evening. Hello, everybody. We are back. We are Nerd Variety. We are the three hosts. Some hosts and some hostesses. It is me, Hannah, and we have Hayden.
Hi.
And we got Josh.
Yes. Hi.
As I have already told my two co-hosts today, I've had more caffeine than usual today, so I'm having a good time. We decided to cancel the episode we said we were going to do this week, which was big board games, because honestly, I didn't know what we were going to talk about. So instead, in celebration of Valentine's Day, we're going to be talking about love.
Love.
Yeah.
What is
specific? Okay. Specifically, we're going to be talking about some of what we think are the worst and best relationships or couples or romances in fiction. We have all prepared a few to talk about. And I mentioned earlier that I have some that are like from the same franchise, and I want to know if you guys were you guys able to pick like a single franchise and have a good relationship and a bad relationship from there?
I could have.
You could have?
I could have several,
mine
but
just
I chose not
happened. Okay. Josh?
I definitely have some bad ones.
Josh is still figuring it out.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think of some good ones.
Josh has been busy today.
This was a last minute change, so I don't blame you this time.
Yeah. This time.
Yeah.
But when we were preparing, we talked about whether a good relationship in terms of fiction was one that was a healthy relationship or something that we should strive for, or is a good relationship just something that was written really well. And I think we all agreed that what we're looking for is something that is actually a healthy relationship and something to strive for. And one of my examples of something that is a really bad relationship but very well written would be Romeo and Juliet. I was like, I mean, as a bad relationship, clearly it didn't work out for anyone.
No, not for anyone.
You know what I mean? Very well written, right? Like a huge, famous piece of literature, right? That everyone knows, basically, but not a healthy relationship, I would argue.
Yeah, can I jump in on this?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to argue against you at all.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit, actually, because I think it is horribly written, and it is a horrible romance. That story is, I've always hated it because, like, they see each other once, they talk briefly once, and then they kill themselves because of each other, and it's like,
it's bad.
You're so stupid.
What I mean by like it's well written is like, okay, yeah, the story is lacking. Right, the relationship is lacking. Clearly, their brain cells are lacking. Right,
they're also teenagers.
Right, like the whole thing is problematic, but it is Shakespeare, and so like the language is beautiful and all this stuff. So just in terms of like actual language, it's well written. It's not a great story.
So Hannah,
yes.
Let me see if I can. Now I'm gonna just put something out there and see if I hit onto this and hit on what you're saying. Because this is how I feel. So it's the story of Romeo and Juliet is good. The romance of Romeo and Juliet is horrible.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot of really good elements to the story. But yeah, the romance aspect of it is just real unfortunate.
It's stupid.
Yeah, spoiler alert, everyone dies.
Right?
Which generally I don't think is how romance is supposed to go.
Nobody needed to.
Well,
literally. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
At the end, their relationship, quote unquote,
spoilers for a
does bring and subsequent death do bring their families together because they were warring against each other. They had some kind of feud, whatever. Yeah. But they did bring them together. And there was the passion that they had was nice, but Again,
they had no passion. They just liked that it was forbidden, that they weren't allowed to do it.
Well, and doesn't that bring on passion? I mean,
yeah, but not for each other. Not a real passion.
Well, but it was there.
The passion of angsty teens to rebel against their parents.
Yes, it was a horrible grease fire that was meant to consume and destroy everything it touched.
Yeah,
I don't think it was Greek.
So
Greece.
Yeah, that's where Greek comes from. It's from Greece.
No.
Greece, like okay, I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, because I was Googling as I do. Yeah, so Juliet was apparently 13.
Yeah.
And Romeo was like possibly anywhere from like 16 to early 20s.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't remember how old he was, but I knew he was definitely older.
I think I've seen a portrayal which was actually really cute because Romeo and Juliet were played by a married couple, which was adorable. But she was kind of playing up this, like, her more childlike qualities, and he was being a little bit more mature. And it's like, that is weird.
Yeah.
I think that was still like implying that they were in an acceptable age range, but it made you think. It was like, all right. Yeah. But people say that the key to a good relationship is communication, and if those two individuals had just freaking talked to each other, nobody would have died. Right? It's like, I'm gonna take some poison, but it's not really poison. And like the whole thing was a miscommunication.
They look dead. I'm gonna take real poison.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, they took real poison? Well, I better take some real poison too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the whole thing just could have been avoided. You know, they could have waited 10 years, went and got married. It would have been fine.
Check their pulse.
Honest. I mean, Juliet was 13. What do you expect? She probably doesn't know how to check a pulse.
I thought Juliet was the one that killed herself
first aid?
No, Juliet was afterwards. Because Juliet, I don't remember exactly. I think maybe she was going to be married to somebody else, and she was like, I'm going to take this fake poison, and I'm going to tell my maid, hey, like, I'm not really dead. Right? But then Romeo was like, she's dead, and killed himself, and then Juliet woke up.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
so it wasn't, but no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't on Juliet to check the pulse. It was on Romeo to check Juliet.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, the older one, the one who probably would have had some kind of knowledge of first aid.
Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, that's one of my worst couples.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Any romance that ends in death for both parties is not great. But I kind of want to jump right into one of my favorites, though, because it's related.
Well, if you want to go hit both of yours away.
Because a relationship that ended in one death is actually one of my favorites, which is Carl and Ellie from Up.
Oh.
Right?
Why are you gonna do that to me?
Right? So
why are you gonna do that to me?
I know. But that's exactly my point. Like, the whole scene between Ellie and Carl is 5-10 minutes maybe, and there's not a whole lot of talking in it, but just in that span of time you understand like how much they love each other and how much like they sacrifice for each other, and it's just beautiful and heartbreaking, and it's like it took no time at all to establish that even now when I mention it, Josh is like, why must you hurt me this way?
Yeah,
you didn't have to bring it up.
I mean, am I wrong though?
Yeah. It was
like
that was minimalistic, but told so much, had so much behind it.
At least it wasn't the romance that caused her death.
No, exactly. No. But we were all so invested after 5 or 10 minutes to their story. Yeah. So I don't think I know of another romance or even another story that's that effective. I feel like I've seen some like short stories, some like short videos that have some pretty good stories, but oof, my heart.
Yeah. The feels.
All the feels.
It is, it's a good one.
So, enough about me though. Hayden, what's one of your worst romances?
I just want to say, I feel like Josh never goes second.
Okay, well, Josh, what's one of your worst romances? Putting you on the spot.
Me?
Yeah. Not like
What's
you personally.
Yeah,
you
no, personally. What's a personal worst romance? Tell us about your worst relationship ever. Have you been in a relationship before?
They'll have to subscribe to the Nerd Variety After Hours.
Nerd Variety After Dark.
That's not a thing.
Nerds After Dark.
Nerd Variety After Dark, yep.
It's not a thing.
Josh, have you been in a relationship before?
Yes, I have.
Like, sorry, with
too.
an actual person?
Yes, I have. That's how relationships work.
I mean, usually.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
There's like stories of people wanting to marry their TVs or something these days. I don't know.
Well, we just heard beforehand about Josh and his relationship with his car, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's off. It's off and on.
So, Josh, what's a relationship in fiction that you think is terrible?
Well, I cannot remember their names, but
Shame.
Hayden's jokes about Greece made me think about the movie Greece.
I was thinking that too, actually.
That's
one reason why I do not like that movie, because their relationship is stupid.
Yep.
They have that Romeo and Juliet thing going on, but they both try to change for the other one without like doing it in a mature way. And at the end, she just goes full greaser, and she's just awkward about it. And then they drive, their car flies off into the sunset. That's
where they're going, they don't need roads.
Yeah,
wrong one.
It's a different one. Sorry.
Yeah, well, and I actually was looking some of the stuff. I was looking up stuff about Greece today because I remembered it, and I don't even know if I've ever seen it all the way through. I think I have. And the whole thing is kind of gross and cringy, and like there's a lot of really uncomfortable sexual references in it and stuff, and it's like, stop it. Like the whole thing is uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's just, it just doesn't, it just throws me off the whole time. It's like they don't really seem to, it's just there's a musical, it's kind of they're trying to do the Romeo and Juliet thing, but it just doesn't work. It's just,
Yeah, and the whole idea of like changing your identity for somebody else to like become their ideal is like, don't do that. You're going to live a lie, and you're going to hate the rest of your life. Like, just stop.
It's a horrible message.
Be true to yourself.
Yep. Terrible. I cannot think. I have not had enough time to think of one of the best.
Well, shall we move to Hayden's worst then? We're breaking the form here, but there wasn't a form.
You can. Hayden can give one of their worst.
I could give you one if you want to elaborate on one. I have a few. I have quite a few, and the more time goes on, the more I'm thinking of new ones. And
I asked my mom for help. I was like, "Mom, give me ideas." Well, Hayden, what's your worst?
So, okay, I'm not gonna go for a super obvious one.
We don't expect you to at this point.
Even though I really want to now. But maybe it is obvious, actually. Kind of along the lines of Romeo and Juliet, not in how that relationship actually went, but more in that I feel like this was so overblown, and it's a big draw of the show. Ross and Rachel from Friends. And it's kind of the same thing as they kind of copied this. If you've ever watched Scrubs, they kind of copied it with JD and Elliot. Both of those are like really awful pairings, and that's like the main focus in terms of relationships for the show.
That they're just so dysfunctional.
Right, like they're awful. Ross and Rachel, are who I'm focusing on because it's been longer since I've seen Scrubs. Ross and Rachel, like, again, it's, it starts off kind of nice, I guess, but again, you look at kind of the same thing with Romeo and Juliet. It's not super dramatic, but it's not an insignificant age difference. Right? Like,
I don't know what the age difference is.
I don't remember either, but it's like Ross is in college. It's at least enough for Ross to be a bit in college when Rachel's in high school. And I don't think it's as simple as like she's a senior in high school and he's a freshman. I don't think it's that short. Do you see? Are you seeing some? You look.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to do some research and I'm not seeing a whole lot. But what I saw immediately was he was a freshman when Rachel was a senior.
Was he? I didn't think it was.
But then I feel like they're saying that at some other time they said that there was a different age gap, like there was some inconsistency in the show.
Yeah, that makes sense because I seem to recall in one point in particular in one of the flashback episodes, probably the Thanksgiving ones, where they do the worst Thanksgivings. I believe that's season probably 5. That's definitely season 5. They're talking about worst Thanksgivings, and I'm pretty sure it's a significant age difference. So that's a bit weird. Also, Rachel is Ross's sister's best friend. So I think that's a bit weird. And of course, like when they actually get in a relationship, first of all, he is obsessed with her, and then she doesn't really care about him. And then she learns that he's in love with her, and then he's in a happy, healthy relationship with Julie, and then she can't stop thinking about him and wants to sabotage their relationship. And then neither is in a relationship for maybe a little bit. I don't remember the amount of time. It may not be at all, but they're so on again, off again. It's horrible. Then they're in a relationship for like a year, maybe less, I think. Because they get in a relationship maybe in the middle of season 2, probably closer to the end. And then they break up about the middle of season 3. So
sounds complicated regardless.
Yeah, and in season 3, like that's horrible. Ross is super jealous all of the time of anyone that's even remotely close to Rachel, and he doesn't trust her at all and is overbearing, and it just blows up. And then they just constantly are sabotaging each other's relationships and their own relationship with each other. Gross. They get married and then they get divorced, and he doesn't tell her that he didn't go through with the divorce.
You sound like people who don't know how to work through their issues.
They do not.
No.
Okay, because confession, have not watched Friends.
Okay, well, I just told you a whole lot.
I wasn't gonna watch it. Like,
and then they have a kid.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, it's
I think we get it.
And then they're not in a relationship, and they are, and they can't decide. And then
okay, yeah.
What's funny is I was doing some research before this, looking at just trying to get ideas for couples and relationships, and I found several lists of the worst relationships and the best relationships, and Ross and Rachel was one of a few I found that I think was on both. Like, some people had it as the best relationship, like one of the best relationships, and they're like, who didn't? And I think it was more from like a storytelling standpoint, where it's like, who didn't enjoy watching them go through all of their drama and strife? And the other one was like, these two people are horrible for each other.
Right. Yeah, because they're horrible people.
But it was just interesting to see.
Ross is a crybaby.
It's
what's her name?
To be honest, it's
Rachel's
mostly,
a crybaby.
To be honest, I think it's mostly on Ross. Like, for real, but Rachel's not great either.
They're both just the worst.
Yeah.
Don't date garbage people.
Yeah.
Like, if they're garbage man for a living, that's fine. But like, personality wise, garbage men gotta date somebody.
Yeah, that's just
hardworking folks.
That's just one that kind of drives me crazy. And I guess, maybe the first time you watch it, especially if you watched it like when it was airing and stuff, sure, I see it, I get it, I understand. watching it so many times, and especially understanding like what a relationship should be and just a real relationship and stuff, you're like, these people should not be in a relationship.
Well, and I don't really have any room to talk here because I've been married nearly 5 years now and I'm 25. So it's been a long time since I haven't been in a relationship, but I feel like you don't even have to be in a relationship to see that theirs is not a good one.
Yeah.
And that's like a surefire sign of, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
So, but what about a good one?
I have a few that I really want to talk about. I think.
Should we go back to Josh?
Well, I was going to say, I think I can narrow it down. I was about to give you one, but if you want to go back to Josh, that's fine.
Yeah, go Josh.
Okay.
Did you come up with something?
Shooting a good one?
A good one, yes.
Good one. Well, Hayden helped me out again with mentioning Scrubs, and I was going to say Carla and Turk was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
They get off to a start at the beginning of the show, and they just have a natural progression toward, married, a kid, and you can see them kind of work on their issues. Even though JD is the main character, it still gives enough time to show their relationship. They really do care about each other. They really have great chemistry.
Yeah.
But they also have their good days and bad days, and it showed them working it out no matter what.
Yeah, I feel like one of the wonderful things about a sitcom, because another one I was thinking of is Marshall and Lily from How I Met Your Mother.
I was thinking of them too.
Yeah, me too.
And I think one of the nice things about a sitcom is it's a situational comedy, right? And there definitely are dramatic moments and like real things going on. But honestly, one of my favorite things about like relationships and sitcoms is they show how much fun being in a relationship is, and like I think of Carla and Turk, and like they're just both goofballs in so many ways. And I feel like a lot of more serious, dramatic romance movies and TV shows don't really get into that side of being in a relationship.
Yeah.
Or like that's such a big part of being in a relationship.
Yeah. But
like
honestly,
it should be fun. You should be happy.
You mentioned Marshall and Lily.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only problem with that is that, what is it, season 2? Lily is horrible.
Yeah.
And it ruins it. It's a blemish on their relationship.
Yeah, but they work it out.
No one has a perfect
But it's a significant one.
It's the one for like, I think like half the season. But they're still like, you can tell they're still crazy about each other. Yeah. But then
if you think the relationships are without significant blemishes.
Right. But then they mature, but they mature and they still have their other, gripes and stripes, but they manage to work it out and stay together and keep the train going.
Yep.
Did you want to elaborate any more on Turk and JD? I mean, Turk and Carl.
We're talking romances or romances.
yeah, whichever.
That'd be fun. We could do an episode on best bromances. I'd be down with that.
You know what? We're talking about this. There are so many things.
Romance in quotations, being like, yeah, huh?
I want to talk about this topic. Just doing my research for it, my prep work for it, has wanted me to be like, okay, I want to talk about like toxic relationships now too. Do a whole thing on that. Well-written toxic relationships, or just friendships, like great friendships, or I just want to talk about so many things now.
We just miss other people and want to talk about relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
Any kind of relationship. We just remember when we had friends that we could see in person? Ah, man. Those were the days.
Good times.
I'm sorry, Josh. Did you have anything more about Carla and Turk?
No, I didn't. I was just highlighting that they were one of the best relationships that I've seen on TV.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, Hayden. Okay. Again, I had a few.
Pick one, Hayden.
I did. Would you give me a second
all right.
to through this? I picked one before we handed over.
Okay.
I told you that. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be annoying now because you did that. I'm going to mention all the ones that I was thinking about. So I almost talked about one that I kind of wanted to, but I didn't because it's not like a confirmed relationship or anything, and it's not really set in. I don't think it's explicit or anything. But have either of you seen Good Omens?
Mm-hmm.
Or read Good Omens?
Yes, I've seen it.
Crowley and Aziraphale relationship.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to say that, but
As in like a bromance, or do you ship them?
oh, it's a ship. Yeah.
Oh, you ship
Sure.
them. Okay.
It's an
I'm not with
asexual
that.
relationship. They have an
What?
asexual relationship, and it is fantastic.
And oh yeah. Well, I guess you could, since they, they're portrayed by guys, they could be a bromance, but
Yeah.
or
They're
their
I feel like-
personalities are male, they could be a
They're
bromance,
also
but
kind of
they're also
gender, aren't they? Since they're both deities.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
feel like
they're
maybe
angels,
the
and
best.
angels don't really,
Yeah, I
can't
feel like
really-
maybe the best description would be like they're just life partners.
Yeah, exactly. It's an asexual relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no. And I was gonna do them, and I almost wanted to talk about Link and Zelda from The Legend of Zelda, but I feel like Zelda really carries that, and it's not always like a relationship, a romantic relationship necessarily. But
I haven't seen too much of it where it's reciprocated by Zelda.
I mean, it's often reciprocated by Zelda. It's also not necessarily reciprocated by Link. That's a more complicated one. Just altogether, there are so many things that make it complicated. But and who knows if it would actually even be listed as like a romantic relationship. I could see other things too.
We need an animated series to kind of flesh all that out.
Yes. Well, wasn't there one? Did it flesh it out?
Anyway.
A modern one.
I'm sorry. You're right. I am getting a little carried away.
Uh-huh.
The one that I do want to talk about, however, that is a good relationship, but it's a little weird too sometimes. Bob and Linda from Bob's Burgers. And now I was having some reservations about this before I said it, or, before we started and everything, because, like you have moments when, one line from one of the first few, or like the first season, I think, is someone's like, Bob, have you ever been in love? He's like, yeah, I mean, I technically am. I'm married. Sure. Yeah. And Linda's just like, what? Hi. But no, it's like, if you really look at their relationship, you can just tell that they're so comfortable with each other. They get in like arguments and like little fights all the time, but it's never anything like really serious. Like, you can tell that they're comfortable enough with each other that they can get into these, and they're secure enough in their relationship and their love for each other that it doesn't bother them. And it's good enough that
Their family as a whole, I feel like, goes through enough stuff that could drive a lot of couples apart.
Especially with owning a small business.
Yeah, and their kids are insane.
Yes.
They're insane, but their kids take after them.
Right.
No, their
But
kids
the
are
fact-
just insane.
But the fact that the relationship is still pretty stable is, definitely admirable.
And just one thing that's been going through my mind when thinking about their relationship is there's an episode where, like, I think the entire one takes place at night, or maybe over 2 nights or something, and like they're trying to decide which one of them snores. And so they set a recorder up, and then they listen to it the next night, and it's like, or maybe it's the same night again, I don't remember, but they listen to it and they're hearing the snoring. It's like, oh wait, is that me? It's like, no, that's you, and it's like, okay, that one's definitely you. And then they like make these really awful farts, and then they just make all these horrible snoring sounds and just any other sounds that's constantly happening through the night. And they're like, oh my God, we're disgusting. and then it's like, they turn it off and then they're trying to go back to sleep and they're like, okay, you know what? I can't sleep without it now. I have to have this noise. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of adorable, and they're a wonderful couple.
I agree. I haven't watched that show as much as I'd like, but from what I've seen, I would tend to agree with you. We do have a few minutes left, so I wanted to go ahead and mention my two that are from the same franchise, just to kind of see what you guys think. So these are both, I'm sure you guys can guess what I'm going to say. These are both from Star Wars. And so the good couple, I think, would be Han and Leia. And the bad couple would be, what is that face for, Hayden?
I'm assuming Anakin and Padme.
Actually, that wasn't the one I was thinking of.
Was it Leia and Luke?
No, that one is definitely bad. No, I was thinking a little bit more recent, actually.
Oh, Rey and Finn? Or Rey and Kylo, sorry. That's
Rey and Kylo Ren, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, remember that was a thing?
Rey and Kylo, yeah.
You can hear our frustration.
It's like...
Yeah, but you know what?
It's like...
But what's more romantic? Can you think of a more romantic speech than, I hate sand. It's rough. It's irritating. It gets everywhere.
No.
Not like you.
Good.
So hot.
Check, please. Get me out of here.
Yeah, no, I forgot
it's
about
not you. It's not me.
Padme.
It's definitely you.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, and also, let's talk about an age difference for a second. How old is Padme when she meets Anakin as a kid?
Like 13 or something.
Okay, she looks a lot older than that in the movies.
Yeah, like 14.
Maybe 14.
Is it the same actress?
But she's still the queen, so wouldn't she have to be like maybe at least 16 or 18?
I mean, you could be the queen.
I mean, she's the queen of Naboo, so who knows what kind of laws they have there.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's like 8 or 9. If we're gonna take the Weird Al song to heart, then he's 9 and she's 14.
I guess that's not too bad of an age difference.
No, it's not. Especially when they jump 10 years from Menace to Attack of the Clones.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, if you're thinking in terms of 5 years difference, then sure, I wouldn't say that that's too bad. But if you're looking at, like, let's put this at 18 and 13.
Yeah, see, that's where it gets weird. Yeah,
that's
the age.
Bad.
Yeah.
We're 21 and 16.
Yeah, so Patrick and I are 4 years apart. So we started dating 6 months after my 18th birthday or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, but it was kind of just barely legal by a few months. Whoops. But yeah, obviously now that we're 29 and 25, it's not a big deal. Right. But yeah, that age gap gets smaller the older you get. I feel like, and the issue with Romeo and Juliet is like it's happening while she's 13 and he's 20. Right? Because even 7 years is not that big a difference. My parents are 7 years apart. So my dad's 41 and my dad's 43 and my mom's fit. I don't know how old my parents are. My dad's about to be 50, isn't he?
Good job.
I can't keep track. Yeah, I think my dad's turning 50 this year. So my mom's 57. I don't remember. But it's not that big a deal years and years down the line. But definitely when you're a teenager, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of development there that needs to happen.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you guys if you think that Han and Leia is a good relationship.
I think so.
Dysfunctional, yes. They definitely need therapy, couples counseling, and maybe take some downtime with all the space stuff and them constantly trying to play like I'm a princess and I can lead and I can command and control, and Han doing the whole I do whatever I want. I'm a free man. You can't tell me what to do. I fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
They can have that back and forth. But
I feel like they make it work for them though.
So
they do. But they still have some stuff that they need to. talk out.
I don't think
instead
it's
of
necessarily.
just letting it be passive aggressive.
I don't think it's necessarily dysfunctional, honestly, because like I think it's Han keeps trying to like he tries to hold on to who he was as an individual and everything, but you see in the first and second one, I guess the third, I don't really remember how their relationship progresses in Jedi.
Yeah.
But in New Hope and Empire, like it's, he keeps leaving, but he always comes back to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not like mean to her. He's not really abusive. He kind of, he starts to just go like, whatever. I don't need you. Wait,
Yeah,
I love you.
They definitely push
No, I
push
didn't
each other's
mean it.
buttons.
Yeah, but I feel like they at their core are two very different people who kind of learn how to operate together.
Yeah.
And I
Which is
think
good.
they do come to compromise very well, and they don't seem too opposed to it.
Yeah.
Right.
They're making their differences work for them.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Rey
And honestly,
Kylo Ren?
I'm sorry,
There's-
I want to say
there's-
real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
Real quick.
That talking about Han and Leia,
Mm-hmm.
they are like their personalities match wonderfully because they are very similar. They just had very different upbringings. Like that is
True.
the biggest difference between them. Because again, like even episode 4, again, you see Leia, like she's hands-on. Like she just grabs a pistol, just starts blasting people, everything. And she takes charge. And that's kind of what Han does. He just leads in action.
I feel like she is sort of the embodiment of like, I want to say like order and integrity. And I feel like he's kind of the embodiment of freedom and chaos. And they sort of meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Where he learns that she's got spunk and she learns that he's got honor. And they kind of meet together there.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately,
What were you saying about
don't have
Kylo Ren?
time. We just don't have time to talk about it. Ain't that a bummer?
I don't think that the
We just-
creators, the writers of the sequel trilogy had time either.
Yeah, honestly, that whole ending sequence was.
I mean, I guess there could have been some sexual tension there, but just
Now talk about a whole Romeo and Juliet thing.
Yeah,
That was
I mean-
probably worse.
Ray survived though, didn't she?
yeah,
But it
At
was-
least not both of them died.
They kind of did, but like it was one of them died by giving life, and then one gave life to the other. So then they died, and so they gave life to the other. It was, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
I
it
just
was
remember so
weird.
much back and forth. It's like, what is even happening?
Well, and they just, anyway, it was not a good time. I didn't enjoy it. And I love a good
romance.
romance, and I'm generally pretty easy to please, but
Would
it
y'all-
was not good.
Would y'all have preferred to see her with somebody, or like her with anyone else, or
No.
or just single? All
If she was
by
gonna be with
herself?
somebody else,
I think
what's the guy's name?
Yeah.
I think she should have stayed
Yeah.
by herself. Are you saying Finn?
Yeah, but I think Finn and Poe should have been a thing.
I agree.
Could've.
No, they also tried to ship what was her name?
Rose.
Rose and
yeah.
Finn, yeah,
And
But-
like
that,
a love triangle.
that wasn't
going on.
working. But no, Ray and Finn work way better as like a
Friends.
friendship. They're
Yeah,
kind of
I
like
agree.
they're
Frenemies.
basically brother and sister.
I don't think Ray needs a man.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. And I think the writer should just have accepted the blossoming gay relationship of Finn and Poe and just let it go. Let it be what it was. But no,
I
They
think
didn't.
Ray should have found herself a good woman.
I would have been down.
I would have too.
But I think that's gonna be it for today. Let us know if you have any couples you think obviously we missed a lot of couples in fiction. But let us know if you think that you know any that are particularly good or particularly bad. We would love to hear them. Anyway, next week we are going to be doing what, Josh?
It's another sales pitch episode. We're going to
Sales
talk
pitch.
about. We're going to try to sell each other mutations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine like all of us are just drug dealers that just have vials of,
DNA.
mutant growth hormone, DNA, mutant growth
Mhm.
hormone, and just it's like, here, you want some wings, buddy?
Yeah, we'll talk
be
about
that
that next
creepy,
time.
but yeah, we'll see how.
No,
we'll
I'm
see
just
how- we'll see
thinking
what
of
happens.
like, sprouting wings sounds painful. But anyway, that's a conversation for next time. Until then, nerd out.
Nerd out.
Nerd out.
Bye.